this one. And we have seen three criteria for proving limit does not exist. One is sequential criteria, one is path criteria, and the third one is the repeated limit. So if anyone have any doubt, then tell, otherwise we can move to the continuity. So these are three non-existence criteria for the limit. One is the sequential criteria. Here you have to choose two sequence and so that both are converging to the different limit. Similarly, in the path, you have to choose two different paths and so that limit corresponding to these two paths are different. Then limit does not exist. And for the repeated limits, you have to show that like this limit, well, first you apply x tending to x naught and y tending to y naught, and then change reverse the order. If both are giving the different answer, then also limit does not exist. So here some property of the limits.
Sir,
One is
sir,
yes,
in that repeated limit part, that we have to check like both the means first x into 0, then y into 0, both the side we have to check.
yes, both you have to check and both should be exist and not equal. If both are not equal, then you will say that limit does not exist for this function. Like in this case, we cannot apply this limit does not exist. We cannot say that it is equal or not. That means repeated limit must exist and not equal. Then we will say that limit does not exist. Like in this case, both repeated limits are exist here existing in this case, and both are not equal. One is 0, one is 1, so limit does not exist. The same we can do by path test also, taking the path y equal to mx. This is depending on m, so limit does not exist. These are some property like we are having in the single variable. The same property will hold for multivariable also. If suppose there are two function f and g, and at point x naught comma y naught both have the limit, one is L, another is M, then if you do the sum of f and g, then its limit will be L plus M. Similarly, difference rule says that its limit will be L minus M. If you multiply by any scalar C, then the answer will be C times L. Product will give L into M. Division is also possible when this M is not equal to 0. Then you can find the division of both the limits will hold, and if it has a power, then limits power will become same, and if it has a square root or cube root or nth root, then also the limit will also have will become nth root. So all the property which are holds in the single variable, the same property for limit will holds in the two variable also. So now continuity, the same definition like we have in the single variable. Suppose f is a function from R2 to R, and we'll say f is a continuous at the interior point x naught comma y naught of the domain D if the first thing is that the function must be defined on that point and this limit must exist and both should be equal. Like limit of this function is equal to the functional value. So first this function value at x naught comma y naught, that should be exist, and limit also should be exist. If out of these three one property will not work, then we'll say that function is not continuous. So far we have seen how to check limit in the two variables. So all those method, limit does not exist or limit exists by epsilon delta definition, we can apply to check this number 2 to show that limit exists. And if function is also defined, then if it is equal, then we will say that the function is continuous. And you will say it is continuous in the domain if it will continuous at the all point of its domain. So now we'll see some epsilon delta definition for continuity and the sequential criteria for continuity. So it is similar to that previous whatever we have seen in the single variable. So let f is a function from R2 to R and x naught comma y naught be an interior point of that domain. That means it belongs to the domain. Then f is said to be the continuous at point x naught comma y naught if and only, that means it is both side true. If this condition will satisfy, then we'll say function is continuous. If function is continuous, then this condition will also satisfy. For every epsilon positive, there exists a delta. That delta we have to find, delta positive, such that whenever mod of fx comma y minus f of x naught comma y naught is less than epsilon, whenever this distance x comma y and x naught comma y naught, this distance, that's why it is norm, that is less than delta, then we'll say that function is continuous. And what is the sequential criteria? If xn comma yn is the sequence in R2 which is converging to x0 comma y0, then its image f of xn comma yn will also converge to f of x0 comma y0. If this will not hold, this is true for all sequence. So this criteria, this sequential criteria, will use that to prove that function is not continuous. Epsilon delta definition will use when we have to show that function is continuous, because it is true for every sequence. Every sequence we cannot prove. So if we take one sequence, for that this property will not work. That means we will say that function is not continuous. So let us see some example. These are two examples. So the first example here, it is the function is defined at this point 0 comma 0, that is given 0. Now we have to check that this function is continuous at this point 0 comma 0 or not. So here hint is given. If you take this sequence 1 by n and 1 by n square, this sequence is going to 0 comma 0. But if you check f of xn comma yn, so what will be the value of f of xn comma yn in this case?
One by two.
Yes, if you take f of xn comma yn, that means instead of x you will put 1 by n, and instead of y if you put 1 by n square, then what you will get? 1 by 2, which is not equal to 0, that is f of 0 comma 0. So here this sequence xn comma yn converging to 0 comma 0. Xn comma yn is 1 by n and 1 by n square. This is converging to 0 comma 0, but its image is not going to f of 0 comma 0. So this function is not continuous. And here this we can prove by epsilon definition, this function is continuous. That means you have to first show that this limit exists or not. If this limit exists and it is equal to 0, that means f of 0 comma 0, then it is continuous. So we have to choose some delta. So we have to show that this limit for continuity, this limit f of x comma y should be equal to f of 0 comma 0 or not. If it is equal, then we will say that the function is continuous, and f at 0 comma 0 is given, it is 0. So that means we have to show that this limit is 0 or not. So to show limit this in multivariability 0, there is only one method, that is epsilon delta definition. So I will apply the epsilon delta definition. That means given epsilon positive, we have to find the delta such that whenever mod of f of x comma y minus L is the limit, is less than epsilon, this we have to show whenever norm of x comma y minus 0 comma 0 is less than delta. So first we will simplify this one and this one both. So x comma y goes to 0 0 0, so this distance is less than delta. So from here we will get this norm, it will give x square plus y square square root is less than delta. That means mod of x is less than delta and mod of y is also less than delta. Now we have to do this simplification such that we will get some mod x and mod y. If we will get mod x and mod y, we can replace that by delta. So this limit we have to show it is 0, and f of x comma y value is given this one, x cube into y divided by x to the power 4 plus y square. So the same thing I am putting here, x cube y x to the power 4 plus y square minus 0 mod. So now this mod will be less than what we have to approximate. So how will approximate? We need only these terms, mod x and mod y. So in this case, can anyone tell?
Sir, can we multiply and divide x?
Yeah, we can multiply, we can divide by x.
Sir, then x to the power 4 by x to the power 4 plus y square we can take as 1 or something like
Yeah,
that.
okay. So I will do whatever you are saying. I am just doing x to the power 4y and I divided by x and multiply by x. We can do whatever we want. This. Now x to the power 4 and this x square, x to the power 4 plus y square is less than 1. So this is less or equal to mod y by mod x. Now tell me what is your conclusion. So that is equal to mod y by mod x. We know mod y is less than delta. What about mod x?
Hmm.
So your ultimate goal is that you have to just keep the term of mod x and mod y. If you will get up to that in the numerator, then you can replace by delta easily. So this mod, so can
Sir,
anyone tell
can
what to
we
do in
take
this? Yes.
xy out and it will be x squared by x to the 4 plus y squared, it will be less than 1. And here you can use m to show that xy less than delta.
Yeah, yes, yeah, that also I will do. First, I will follow this, whatever he suggested. So now what we can do, we stick here. If this is not there, then we can write it is less than delta. Yes or no? If mod x is not there, then we can easily write
Yes,
it is
sir.
less than delta. So now what I will do, so we have to assume something so that we can approximate mod x. If we can approximate, then there is no problem. Can
Sir,
we
we can
approximate
assume mod
mod?
x is less than 1.
Yeah, if we assume, okay, so let us assume mod x is less than 1 and see what will happen. Suppose mod x is less than 1, then what will, we have to choose the minimum value of mod x in order to get less than something. So what will be the minimum value of mod x if mod x is less than 1?
-1.
So minus 1, so minus we cannot take, because if you take minus, then suppose delta will become minus, and delta is positive quantity. Even 0 we cannot take. So in this case we cannot go like this. That means we cannot introduce in the numerator, because mod x is less than delta means x lies between minus delta to plus delta. So something 0 will also come in between. Yes or no? Mod x is less than delta, that means lies from minus delta to plus delta. So 0 will also come. So that's why we cannot do like this. So we'll apply something else. So we'll apply arithmetic mean and geometric mean in order to approximate this. So if you take this one is this one, x to the power 4, another one is y square. So what is the arithmetic mean of these two numbers? So the arithmetic mean of these two numbers, x to the power 4 and y square, will be x to the power 4 plus y square by 2. And what is the geometric mean of these two numbers?
X plus y plus root of
Geometric mean will come
x
x
square.
square into y after taking the square root. So arithmetic mean is always bigger than geometric mean. So from here we can write x square, this original here, x square by y divided by this quantity will be less than half. So like I did here, this quantity is less than half, so it will be mod x by 2, and which is less than delta by 2, which is equal to epsilon. So we can find the delta in terms of epsilon, and that delta will work. So this function is continuous at 0, 0. This is epsilon. So we can find delta. So we can choose delta 2 less than 2 epsilon. Whatever delta less than 2 epsilon you will choose, it will work. Is it okay? So more question I am not doing because the checking the continuity is same as finding the limit. If you are able to find the limit and it is equal to functional value, that is the only additional part in continuity. So when limit does not exist, you cannot say the function is continuous like we have seen in this example. Limit does not exist, that means this function cannot be a continuous function. So now we'll move to the next topic. After that, limit continuity, what will be the next topic?
Differentiability.
Differentiability.
Sir,
Differentiability. So yeah, how is it stable or not? The next topic is differentiability. Yes, yes.
sir, in the previous question, can we take y equals to 1 by x square and then simplify it? Then also that delta by 2 will come
Y equal to what you want to choose?
1 by x square.
Y equal to 1 by x square.
For simplifying that, it will become a mod x by x to the power 4 plus 1 by
No,
x to the
we
power 4.
see what means whatever we want we cannot put. We have to do something that is valid. Like if you put y equal to 1 by x square, then y equal to 1. You have to approximate this quantity is less than something, and that will work for at least this x and y.
Okay.
So you cannot take y as a function of x. Both are independent variable, x and y. The original function is the f is the function of x, y. So these are independent variable, x and y. So you cannot take y as a function of x. So now moving to the next topic, that is differentiability. So first I will recall what is when we will say the function is differentiable in single variable R to R. So D is the subset of R and x naught is the interior point of the domain D, and the function f from D to R is said to have a derivative at point x naught if this limit exists. F of x naught plus h minus f of x naught divided by h. If this limit exists, then we will say that function is differentiable and that limit is equal to f dash x naught. So now something similar to that, we will define the derivative in the two variable. So here D is the subset of R2 and function from R2 to R, that means D to R. And here we are defining the derivative with respect to x. So if you define derivative with respect to x, something similar to this, then this is the definition: x naught plus h. We are not changing anything in y, same as f of x naught comma y naught divided by h, and that is called partial derivative of the, if this limit exists, then it is equal to f of x x0 comma y0, that is partial derivative of the function with respect to x. Is it okay?
Sir, why we are
Similarly,
not
we can,
changing in y?
yeah, we'll change y also. We'll find another.
Okay, sir.
We'll get a partial derivative with respect to y also. So here, because it is two variable x and y, so here we are getting two derivative. In single variable it is a function of x, so we are getting only one derivative, like differentiate with respect to x. Here there are two variable x and y, so we are differentiating with respect to x also, and we are differentiating with respect to y also. So how many differentiation we will get? Two differentiation we will get. So x, if we'll change in y, just 1 minute. So now this is the definition when we are changing in y 0 plus k minus f of x0 comma y0 divided by k. Can we say it is 0 by 0 form, this limit? Can we say this limit is a form of 0 by 0?
Yes, sir.
Because if you put k equal to 0, we'll get f of x0 comma y0 minus f of x0 comma y0, it is 0, and divided by again k tending to 0, so 0 by 0 form. So that means whatever we learn in this, because limit is single limit, not double limit in this case. So whatever we learn the previous things, all those knowledge we can apply to find this partial derivative with respect to x and y. So let us do some example. So what is the partial derivative of this function with respect to x and with respect to y, if they exist? So can anyone tell what will be the partial derivative of this function with respect to x and with respect to y?
2x y.
2x 2y with respect to
Yeah, so
with
this
respect to y.
notation,
2x y square.
yes. So here you can easily, so either you will denote by this f of y or del f by del y, both are the same meaning. That is the partial derivative of f with respect. So without doing anything or without applying the formula, I am also directly writing this will come 2x, and with respect to y, it will come 2y. So that I am leaving you for as exercise to prove by using this limit you will get the same answer 2x at point x0, it will come 2x naught, and that will come 2y naught. Moving to the next one. Here you have to find the partial derivative of this function at point 0 comma 0. Now can you guess what will be your answer? Then we'll do also the same thing. What will be your answer? Like partial derivative of x, this function with respect to x
Does
at
not
point 0
exist.
comma 0 does not exist.
Do not exist.
So anyone who want to say exist? Yeah, so how many of you think it is exist? Let us see by definition. Limit h tending to 0. First I will find this one, the partial derivative with respect to x at point 0 comma 0. So now point I am putting 0 comma 0. First I will write the definition x naught plus h y0 minus f of x0 comma y0 divided by h. If this limit exists, we'll say the partial derivative exists. So now this limit is equal to at point 0 comma 0 I have to find. So this will give 0 plus h comma 0 minus f of 0 comma 0 divided by h. So this is nothing but 0 plus h means h. F of h comma 0 will be what? The function definition is given, square root of x square plus y square.
Mod h.
Mod h.
So it will give limit h tending to 0. Here divided by h. It will give square root of h square plus y value is 0. So 0 square minus square root of 0 square plus 0 square. So I apply the definition of the function. So this will give 0. It will give the square root of h square. So what will come in the numerator? So till now I
Mod
didn't
h.
apply the limit.
Mod h.
Yes.
So
So it will
it's
come
mod
mod h divided by h. So the question is, if this limit exists, then we'll say the partial derivative with respect to x will exist. So is this limit is existing?
No, sir.
no.
So like if you take left hand limit and right hand limit, both are different. One will come plus 1, another one will come minus 1. So this limit does not
Minus
exist. That means the correct answer is the partial derivative doesn't exist. So this is equal to does not exist means limit does not exist. That means the partial derivative will also not exist. Similarly, you can do for with respect to y. Here 0 comma k will come, so it will come mod k by k. That will also not exist. So here it is written mod h by h, it will come for the first one. That means the partial derivative with respect to x doesn't exist. Similarly, because this limit does not exist, so both partial derivative at 0 comma 0 does not exist. So this is the end of this question. Now some extra one I want to ask, that is this function is continuous or not? So is this function is continuous or not? Just now we have seen the continuity in two variable. For continuity we have to show that this limit x comma y goes to 0 comma 0 of f of x comma y, it should be equal to f of 0 comma 0. If this condition will hold, then we'll say this function is continuous. So what is f of 0 comma 0?
0.
0.
0.
0.
0.
This is 0. Now we have to show that this limit is 0 or not. If this limit is 0, then function is continuous. If it is not 0, then function is not continuous. So now what is your answer? Then I will continuous or not? Like guess.
Not
No, sir.
No, sir.
Not continuous.
Mm,
No,
no.
sir.
So if someone is saying no, it is not continuous, then produce or give me the reason why it is not continuous. You can use a sequential criteria, you can use path test, like some different path it is giving some different limit, or you can say that repeated limits like x tending to 0 first and y tending to 0 both are giving the different answer. If out of three any one criteria you will able to apply, then you can say it is not continuous. So those who are saying not continuous, give me the reason why it is not continuous. I am saying it is continuous.
Sir, it is
Even I can
continuous
prove.
by epsilon delta definition.
Yeah, by epsilon delta definition it is continuous. That means it is continuous.
Yes,
We have
sir.
to find the delta. We have to find the delta. That means mod of f of x comma y minus 0 is less than epsilon whenever norm of x comma y minus 0 comma 0 is less than delta. And if you simplify this, you will get x square plus y square is less than delta. And if you simplify this, you will get square root of x square plus y square. Sorry, this is epsilon. If you apply the definition f of x comma y, this is square root of x square plus y square. So this is less than delta implies x square plus y square is less than epsilon. If you choose epsilon and delta equal, then it will work. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
This norm is giving x square plus y square is less than delta. This f of x comma y is square root of x square plus y square, and this is 0. That means square root of x square plus y square is less than epsilon. So this implies this for what delta? When delta equal to epsilon or less than epsilon. That means this function is continuous. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Function is continuous,
Yes,
but
sir.
its partial derivative does not exist at point 0 comma 0. But at 0 0 this function is continuous. Let us do the another example. So the conclusion is that function is continuous, but its partial derivative does not exist. So now what about this? What are the value of partial derivative in this case? First question is, this function is continuous or not?
No, sir.
Why?
No, sir.
Path
Why?
test.
Correct, sir. By sequence, we
Yeah,
can say
Hold on.
also
yeah,
path test.
yeah, sequence if you take,
Part
then
test,
also
y
it is
बराबर
not continuous. Part test if you take y equal to mx, this function is not continuous. Let us do the partial derivative. So tell me which one you want. I will do one. Remaining like either this one or this one. Which one? Tell me. I will do one. Both are same. Fx or fy? Like partial
Fx.
derivative with respect. Okay, fx. So limit h tends to 0 f of, so at point 0 I 0 comma 0 I want to calculate, so this minus f of 0 comma 0 divided by h. If this limit exists, then we will say that partial derivative of this function exists. So it will give limit h tends to 0 f of h comma 0 minus f of 0 comma 0 divided by h. So now I will put the value. So what is h comma 0? What is h comma 0 and what is f 0 comma 0?
H into 0 by h square plus 0 square.
Yeah, h into 0
0
by
square.
h square plus 0 square, that is 0. Minus f 0 comma 0 is at 0 comma 0 function value is giving 0. It is given 0. So it will come 0. So 0 by h is 0. So the answer will come 0. See first this is the value of f h comma 0. This is the value of f 0 comma 0. So on the top it is 0 divided by h is 0. Once it will become 0, after that I am applying the limit h tending to 0. There is no h. So that's why it is 0. So partial derivative with respect to x came 0. Similarly, you can find the partial derivative with respect to y also, that will also come 0. So here it is
Sir, it is
h
not
only
that it is differentiable.
and skill. So I will correct. This function is not continuous. So now what is so the conclusion is that this is not continuous because y equal to mx, and what is partial derivative exist. So what you learn in the single variable, if function is differentiable, it must be continuous or not.
Yes, sir.
If it is
Yes, sir.
differentiable,
Yes, sir.
so
Yes.
so in
Yes,
single
sir.
variable you have learned that every differentiable function is continuous, right? But here what is coming, the partial derivative exists. It is exist at 0 comma 0, but it is not continuous. So what does it mean? Can you tell what does it mean? The meaning of this is that if function is differentiable, it should be continuous even in two variable also. That means the way we define the derivative, this partial derivative with respect to x and y, like we are defining this is partial derivative with respect to x and y. So these, whatever the definition, this is not the definition of differentiability in multivariable or in two variable. Because if it is differentiable, it must be continuous. So whatever we are finding, that is not the derivative of the function. This is just partial derivative with respect to x and with respect to y. Like this definition is not saying the function is differentiable. No, it is saying that the partial derivative with respect to x and y. Here nowhere it is written that function is differentiable, because if it is differentiable, it should be continuous. So this definition, whatever definition so far we have seen, the partial derivative with respect to x or with respect to y, that doesn't mean that function is differentiable. Yeah, partial derivative exists with respect to x and with respect to y, both exist. That doesn't mean that function is differentiable. That means the definition of differentiability should be different or something else, right? So to find the actual definition of differentiability, people define one more derivative, like one is partial derivative. So some other derivative came in the picture and people said that name is called directional derivative. So before that, we can see some higher order derivative, like if you are differentiating 2 times, that means this is just notation. So we can find del by del x, like if you differentiate 2 times, you will get the partial derivative with respect to. So this is some printing mistake here, x square will be there, this would be y square, that means 2 times. So anyone have any doubt in this formula, like fxx, fxyx, fxy and fyy? So far we don't have any definition of differentiability. Whatever we have, that is called partial derivative. And by this remark, it is clear that the partial differentiation is not equivalent to differentiability. That means differentiability is something else other than some partial derivative. Something else is the differentiability in multivariable. That till now I didn't define. We will see after few slides. So before that, the higher derivative, like second. So second order derivative, total 4 are here. So how many third order derivative are possible for a function in 2 variables?
Eight.
8.
Yeah, so these are the third order derivative, total 8. You can define like this. Now the question is that if you differentiate this, like first with respect to x and then with respect to y, and then change the order, like yx and xy, is both are same or not? Like changing the order of differentiability will change the answer or not? Like first differentiate with respect to y and then differentiate with respect to x. Again do the reverse. First differentiate with respect to x and then differentiate with respect to y. Will it change the answer or not? Or these both are equal?
So it will change.
So
It
we
will
will
change.
see
The
this
answer will change.
we will see this answer also.
Can be changed, sir.
Change, sir. Different.
So for this question, if we check this value fxy 0, 0 and fyx 0, 0, it will come different.
Sir, it will be same if both of them are continuous at that point.
Both are the which one is continuous?
Sir, I mean
This
that fxy and
okay,
fyx.
okay, not the actual function fxy. Okay, yes. So both will be same when these are continuous. So this is the example where both are not equal. So how to calculate this? Can anyone tell? We know how to calculate the partial derivative with respect to x and with respect to y. Now the question is we have to calculate the fxy. So what is the definition of fxy at 0, 0? So this is not equal. If limit exists, then we'll say it is equal. So tell me what to write in terms of limit. So xy means first we will differentiate with respect to x and then we are differentiating with respect to y. So this xy means first we will differentiate with respect to x and then we are differentiating with respect to y. So if this fx, this one, if we assume it is capital F, can you tell me fy, that capital F derivative with respect to y, what will be the definition? We have seen how to differentiate a function like partially. What is the definition in terms of limit? If you have still some doubt, then can you tell me the definition of some another function, not this function, with respect to y in terms of limit, like whatever we learn?
Limit k tends to 0.
Limit k tends to 0.
It is single variable or multi? Single.
Yeah, single only. Fy, partial derivative with respect to y.
F of y plus k minus f of y by k.
F of
Y plus k.
y plus k. So go back to the definition.
Sir,
See
f of
this.
0, 0 plus
plus k minus f of 0, 0 divided by k. So the point x0 comma y0 in this case is 0, 0. So we'll write 0 comma 0 plus k. We are not changing anything in x, minus f of 0 comma 0 divided by k. And now this capital F, if it is small fx, then that is nothing but f of x comma y. So now I'll put capital F by small f. Limit k tends to 0. Small f x 0 comma k minus 0 comma 0 divided by k for this function. Is it okay to everyone? So small fxy, that means f of x comma y, fxy. If we assume capital F, then this is the definition, and capital F replaced by fx. That means partial derivative of f with respect to x. So this value minus this value divided by k will give this one. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Now we have to find first, for this function we have to find the partial derivative of this with respect to x. Once we will get this, then only we can get these two values. So we will calculate the partial derivative of this function with respect to x. So we cannot do this now, so I will calculate first what is f of x. So because 0 is here, 0 is here, so we are not changing anything, and I am just writing y. Why I am writing y? Because first I will put y equal to k, I will get this value. If I will put y equal to 0, I will get this value. That means I will get both the value if I will change y. Y equal to k means this value, y equal to 0 means this value. So now I want to calculate fx 0 comma y. According to the definition, it will be limit h tends to 0 f of, so tell me what to write.
0 plus h comma y.
Yeah, 0 plus
Comma
y plus k divided by, sorry, y plus, it will give 0 plus h means h comma y divided by h. Is it okay?
Sir,
The
why
definition
0
of
comma
MC.
y, sir, in case of fx?
Yeah, fx at the point, which point? Go back to the actual definition. Here I will, x0 is 0 and y0 is y at point 0 comma y. This is the
Yes,
partial
sir.
derivative at point x0 comma y0. So if x0 is 0, so you will put here 0, here y, here 0, here y. So 0 comma y, 0 plus
Yes,
h
sir.
comma
Got
y
it.
divided by h.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So now f of h comma y we can find from here, and f of 0 comma y will be 0 because x is 0. So if you put here x equal to 0, this will give 0 only. Now tell me what will be the value of this f of h comma y. If you put here x equal to h, y is y, here h is square, here also h is square, divided by h. This h will cancel out with this h. Now apply the limit h tends to 0 and tell me what you will get.
Sir, minus y.
Minus y.
Minus y, sir.
So minus y. So limit 0 comma y we got minus y. So once we get this, we can calculate this. That means this value. So what will be the value of this and what will be the value of this now? At 0 comma y value comes minus y. At 0 comma k value will come minus k. At 0 comma 0 value will come 0. So this value will come minus k. This value is 0. So minus k minus 0 divided by k. So this answer will come minus 1. That means the partial derivative of f with respect to x and then with respect to y at 0 comma 0 will come minus 1. Similarly, if you calculate this, it will come plus 1. Both are not equal for this example. So like this one came minus 1. If you calculate this one, it will come x. And again, if you calculate both the limit, one will come 1, another one will come minus 1. That means this one and this one both are not equal. Like if you differentiate with respect to x first and then with respect to y, and if you change the order, it is not always true. So the question is when it is true. That is the theorem. If all partial derivative, this first partial derivative x with respect to x and y, and then xy and yx, all are exist and defined in this region, and all are continuous, then both the partial derivative, this mixed partial derivative, will be equal at that point x naught comma y naught. So if this point should be continuous, and then both are equal. That is called mixed derivative theorem. That means the derivative should be equal in that case if they are continuous. So anyway, whatever we have seen in the partial derivative, that will not implies that function is continuous. That means the partial derivative cannot be the derivative for two variable. So we'll define some another derivative that is called directional derivative, and this is the definition. This is the more general or more advanced than partial derivative. We'll see how. Let D is the subset of R2, same thing, x naught comma y naught at this point, and we want to define the differentiation of function at this point. So here we choose a direction u1 comma u2, like 2 point. If you take in R2, it is one direction, and then the derivative of this function, that we are saying the directional derivative because it is in this direction u1 comma u2. That's why its name is directional derivative, and that is the definition: t tends to 0, f of x naught comma y naught plus t times u minus f of x naught comma y naught divided by t. So this is again 0 by 0 form. If you put t equal to 0, this is gone. It will come f of x naught comma y naught minus f of x naught comma y naught divided by t, and it is denoted by this, and it is read as directional derivative of function f in the direction of u at point x naught comma y naught. Like there we are denoting by f of x and f of y, like partial derivative with respect to x and with respect to y. Here the directional derivative of function f in the direction of a unit vector u at point x naught comma y naught. Suppose direction is not unit, you know how to convert a vector into unit vector just by dividing by its norm or its length. If you divide, the vector will become unit vector. So can you tell me the directional derivative in the direction of 1 comma 0? That means u1 comma u2 is u1 is 1 and u2 is 0. In the direction of 1 comma 0, what will be this limit? We'll put this.
ଇଆଡ଼େ ଯିବେ ସେଇଟା ବେବି କହିଲା ମୋତେ ଦୁଇ ତିନି ଜଣ ନିଆ କହିଲେଣି ମୁଁ ଛୁଟିରେ ରହିଗଲି ଭୁଲିଗଲି ଆଉ ଆଜି ଫୋନ୍ କରିଥିଲି ଯେ ତମେ କେମିତି ମୁଁ କହିଲି ମୁଁ ତ ଛୁଟିରେ ଅଛି ନା କେମିତି ପଠେଇବ ସେ ବ୍ରାଞ୍ଚ
So can you explain this again, directional derivative?
Yes, I will explain anyway, don't worry. Just let me calculate this directional derivative in the direction 1 comma 0. So 1 comma 0 is a unit vector or not?
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. It is unit.
1
Yes,
comma 0 is a unit vector. Okay, so I am calculating this directional derivative in the direction of 1 comma 0. 1 comma 0 I chosen the direction. Later we'll see what is the meaning of all those things. This one plus t times u. U means 1 comma 0 I am taking, minus f of x0 comma y0 divided by t. So let me simplify this. So it will give t1, t times 1 will give t, and t times 0 will give 0. And if you add, what you will get, x0 plus t comma y0 plus t times 0 will give y0. That means in the numerator you will get this one. So up to this is fine. So what I am calculating this derivative that we are calling directional derivative in the direction of 1 comma 0. So I put u equal to 1 comma 0 multiply by t, it will give t comma 0. If you add, x0 plus t will give x0 plus t, y0 plus 0 will give y0 minus f of x0 divided by t. So can anyone tell what is the limit of this at t tends to 0? This whole thing. We have just seen
Sir, it is
x naught
equal
plus
to
h.
partial derivative.
Yes, it is equal to partial derivative with respect to x. X naught plus h, comma y naught. So instead of h, it is t. So along this direction, the directional derivative of the function will nothing but the partial derivative with respect to x. And this is nothing but the x direction, 1, comma 0. Yes or no? 1, comma 0 is along the x-axis. If you take 0, comma 1, that is along the y-axis. And it will give the partial derivative with respect to y. So whatever formula is written here, this is the most general formula, whatever we have, only two direction, x and y direction. X and y direction means partial derivative with respect to x and with respect to y. But if you take any other direction, so now that's why we are defining the derivative more general, that is called directional because of direction, more general way, that means along all direction you can find the derivative, not only along x-axis and y-axis. That partial derivative with respect to x and with respect to y is same as the directional derivative along x-axis and y-axis. But here you have flexibility, you can choose any direction other than x and y. So can we say that if directional derivative will exist, partial derivative will automatically exist?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Because
Yes,
directional
sir.
derivative is
Yes,
more
sir.
general. It is along all type of direction, not only x-axis and y-axis. So if you take direction 1, comma 0, you will get the first like partial derivative with respect to x. If you take 0, comma 1, if you put here 0, comma 1, it will become y direction. So directional derivative is the generalization of the partial derivative. Partial derivative is just particular case of directional derivative only in two direction. So now anyone have any doubt what is directional derivative? Partial derivative only two direction, x-axis and y-axis. That means with respect to x will give the x-axis direction derivative, with respect to y is giving only y direction derivative. But once we are calculating derivative, we have infinitely many directions. Like we are calculating limit, there are infinitely many paths. So like if we have this point x0, comma y0 is here. So what partial derivative is doing, it is calculating derivative in direction, in this direction, only x direction and y direction it is calculating the derivative. But what partial derivative will do, depending on the direction, you can calculate in this direction what will be the derivative in this direction, in this direction. So you can calculate even infinitely many. So if you want to calculate infinitely many, just take arbitrary u1 and u2 and calculate the direction. Once you will change u1, u2, your derivative will change depending on which direction you want to do. So that we will do some example of the directional derivative, and again we will try to see is directional derivative implies continuity or not. If it is implied, then that is nothing but the derivative what we have learned in the derivative in the single variable. That derivative, this derivative will become that derivative if this derivative implies continuity. So that we will do in the next class, and this result C also we will prove in the next class. Like if along minus u, like the opposite direction, directional derivative is nothing but the minus of duf. That we will prove in the next class.